with Hashirama and Hiruzen. Senju Hashirama didn't look out of breath. Not a single strand of hair was out of place. Not a single piece of cloth torn or armor damaged. He was completely unharmed. Across from him was Sarutobi Hiruzen, his former pupil and the former Sandaime Hokage. At a young age, both had seen war and survived it. Both had faced impossible odds and were able to survive it. Both had been called Kami no Shinobi during their height of their days as Hokage of Konoha. Though unlike Senju Hashirama, the body of Sarutobi Hiruzen did not look like it was in good shape. On the contrary, Hiruzen had the unfortunate opportunity to solve a what-if-based question regarding who would win in a fight between the two with the title of Kami no Shinobi. As things stood, the fight was not in Hiruzen's favor, and had to be supported by his trusty summons, Enma, in his adamantine staff form. This is like a repeat of history, Hiruzen. Only this time your age will not be an excuse when I kill you, and the Shinigami collects on the soul you cheated him, remarked Hashirama, with Hiruzen scowling at him while blood left the side of his mouth. How can you judge me so harshly, Sensei? All I have ever done was try to make Konoha the greatest village in all of the elemental countries, unopposed for all time. So what if an ally here or a friend there was killed or lost in the process? Konoha is the only village that should matter, exclaimed Hiruzen before moving to swing his staff at Hashirama, but the man blocked it simply by raising his arm. I can judge you because I know you knew what I believe the will of fire to be and what it truly meant. Instead, you took what I taught and threw it away. And for what power? Control. Ending lives that didn't follow your way of doing things simply because they were happy with their lives as they were. You killed my grandson Nawaki because he didn't think like you or the others in Konoha. You betrayed the Uzumaki clan because they were a so-called threat to Konoha, when in reality that was the farthest thing from the truth, and you know it, said Hashirama before going through hand signs and making tree branches rise from the ground and trap Hiruzen while Enma was kicked away from him. They were a threat. You and the Uzumaki clan holding the QB like it was yours to use, or not use. How you, Jinchuriki, are weapons, tools of war. They are meant to serve as one until the day they die. Mito planned to return home to Whirlpool during her later years in life when she could no longer hold the fox, to put it in another Uzumaki, who would stay in Whirlpool rather than Konoha. Without a Jinchuriki, Konoha would have fallen, and they knew that, exclaimed Hiruzen angrily before he was backhanded in the face by Hashirama. Unlike you and the rest of Konoha, they would not have treated the next Jinchuriki like a weapon. As for keeping Konoha safe, the Uzumaki clan was this village's ally, meaning they would have helped during a war, countered Hashirama while Hiruzen spit some blood out of his mouth. Please, an ally is only as trustworthy as the side they stay on. You think the Uzumaki clan would have stayed our trusty ally if they knew what I and the others had planned for Konoha, planned to do to the world once we were too strong to oppose? They would have broke off their alliance and joined our enemies to defeat us using their Jinchuriki to wipe us out. So we performed a preemptive strike and took them out of the equation, confessed Hiruzen angrily before he was backhanded again. You performed a near genocide on a clan, who was the only one capable of holding the QB in the first place. What happened when you ran out of Uzumaki clan members? All you had were Kushina at the time, and she can only give Konoha so many children during her youth. Besides, her children's children would not have been able to hold the fox given the Uzumaki blood waters down by that point. They can't hold the fox inside themselves and makes things impossible for them to remotely be Jinchuriki. Of course you knew this because of Tsunade being less than half Uzumaki, and couldn't be one herself, replied Hashirama with Hiruzen glaring at him. We would have found the survivors. Those with the Uzumaki bloodline were scattered just about everywhere throughout the elemental countries. It would not be impossible to find them and use them how we wished, stated Hiruzen before Hashirama grabbed his face and began to squeeze it. You would have turned them into a shadow of their true selves, Sarutobi, meant to be used only as holders of QB, And nothing else? Sent to fight and die without so much as a thank you. Living a lie and living in pain every day, they drew breath. And for what? So Konoha would stay on top at the expense of a clan that once called this village an ally. More importantly, they embraced us in friendship, and you made sure Konoha got close enough to stab them in the back with a kunai without them seeing it coming. I feel no sympathy for you, Sarutobi. I feel nothing for you. Goodbye, said Hashirama before snapping the man's neck and crushing his skull violently. With Tobirama and Danzo. You lack of eyes on your arm tells me you can't keep this up forever. Danzo, remarked Tobirama, while seeing Danzo's special arm had lost quite a few Sharingan eyes. I have plenty to replace them, countered Danzo without care since he did, and was sure his root could secure a competent doctor to perform the surgery in the event Tsunade was killed in this battle. Yes, your large supply of Sharingan eyes hidden underground. You'll find they won't survive today. Even as we speak, they are being destroyed by our spies here in Konoha, and will be of no use to you, remarked Tobirama with Danzo scowling. And who, may I ask, are these so-called spies? Questioned Danzo, while curious as to how someone was able to infiltrate his organization within Konoha. Let's just say Hirizen's bloodline can be just as treacherous as he is with the Uzumaki clan, answered Tobirama cryptically, while Danzo narrowed his eyes before they went wide in shock. No? Him? Are those other two brats in on it? Homura's and Koharu's grandchildren, questioned Danzo with Tobirama, gave a small smirk. What do you think, my old student? Asked Tobirama before he was in front of Danzo a second later with a palm strike to the face, crushing the Warhawk's skull, only to phase and reappear unharmed. I think it's finally time we see who is better at using the Senju bloodline. Your brother or myself, remarked Danzo, as he unleashed large tree branches from the ground and had them move to trap Tobirama in their bind. Impressive. You must have trained in your spare time to use this power. Otherwise, you would have been unable to use it effectively, remarked Tobirama, as he dodged left and right to keep the branches away. You cannot win, Tobirama-sensei. I have surpassed all my peers. You, your brother, even the former Yondaime was no match for me. I am the true Hokage of Konoha in all but name, something you denied me years ago. Something I will take once this war is over, and Konoha is mine along with the rest of the world, exclaimed Danzo, as he saw his sense was about to be trapped before vanishing 1 second, and appearing behind the once crippled man the next. You forget, Danzo, everything you know, I along with my brother taught you. But we didn't teach either of you everything, remarked Tobirama before stabbing Danzo in the back of the head with a kunai. And once more the process Danzo used to cheat death. That was the Izanagi came about with the man appearing unharmed from the kill. Die and stay dead, exclaimed Danzo, as he used his sword that had once been held secretly within his cane to strike Tobirama. But the former Nidaime Hokage stopped it easily by grabbing the hand and ripping the sword out of it. Before stabbing Danzo in the heart, again the power of Izanagi saved him. This is getting boring, Danzo. I know the Uchiha were none for coping everything, but this is ridiculous, commented Tobirama with Danzo smirking. As long as I have the Sharingan, I am invincible, replied Danzo before feeling a pain in his special arm and saw a seal on his body in the exposed part of his limb. Which is why I made sure the seal on you takes them away, remarked Tobirama, as he had heard from Shao Kahn about what Danzo had quite literally up his sleeve with all the Sharingan eyes grafted to the one arm, and the one hidden behind the bandages. Danzo never realized his own route. Shinobi would be the ones to provide his enemies with key information. What did you do to me? Demanded Danzo before his body felt weak and on fire at the same time. This seal was made by Mito when Shao Kahn-sama told us about your Sharingan eyes and my brother's cells in your body. I was merely toying with you in order to reduce the number of eyes you had, so it would work faster when applying it. This seal attacks your body's internal systems, purging it of things like an antidote does a poison. But in this case, the seal attacks the cellular structure of body, and anything unnatural in it. since over 40% of your body is unnatural. I can imagine you are in a lot of pain right now, and finding it difficult to move. Also, the seal on your chest to make you explode, and take your enemy down with you. That is also being neutralized due to it being an unnatural element on your body, explained Barama with Danzo clutching his heart and glaring at him while vision in his one eye with the Sharingan went dark. Damn you, Tobirama-sensei. Damn you and your family to hell, exclaimed Danzo as he looked at his arm and saw all the eyes on it were closed while the arm itself became purplish with the colorization of it slowly spreading up to his shoulder. The ability to use the Azanagai was lost. Your words are empty, Danzo. Soon your conspirators Koharu and Homura will join you and Hiruzen in the very hell you wish to damn me to when I die again. If I die at all. The root shinobi you have in Konoha will also be joining you, so die knowing that your time in hell will not be one filled with loneliness, replied to Barama with Danzo, now letting out a silent scream while his body started to melt halfway, deforming in the process, and the strain of it killing the man slowly. Tobirama just started the dying man right in the eyes, without pity or sadness in his own, while Danzo became just another corpse with his soul going to the Shinigami. Mito and Tsunade. I should have disciplined you years ago when you were just a brat, but your grandfather would never allow it. He loved and spoiled you too much, exclaimed Mito as she kept landing punch after punch and kick after kick upon Tsunade, who had the fighting style of a brawler. The woman never refined her taijutsu because she thought there was no point when one punch with her super strength was all it took to hurt someone. Sadly, Tsunade's decision had been the decisive reason for her being beaten so badly by Mito. Mito was not only a great seal master of her time, being an Uzumaki of course, but her own skills in taijutsu made Mito gay, look like a green fresh genin straight out of the academy. With every blow Mito landed, Tsunade felt a bone break, an organ rupture, internal bleeding, and many other horrible painful things one can inflict on the human body. Mito, please stop. I'm your child's child. This is cruel, protested Tsunade, as she loved Mito and her grandfather dearly when growing up. Sure, she was walking a path they didn't approve, but wasn't her own personal desires in life more important than what they wanted after they died? So what if you are? Naruto was from the Uzumaki clan, same as you on my side of the family, yet you scorned him, betrayed him. And for what? Because he was a Jinchuriki, because his parents asked you to. Kushina was one before him. Minato also became a Jinchuriki too when he took half of Kurama into his body, and then fled with his wife and daughter that night. You hated Naruto from the moment you met him to long after he came back as something else. You talk about being cruel to you, Tsunade, but what is true cruelty? You betrayed your grandfather, the Senju clan, the Uzumaki clan, Naruto, your former lover Dan, your own brother, and above all things, if that was enough, me. You betrayed all of us for power, to reverse your age in order to keep yourself young, and conquest in this pointless war you started in the insane belief the gods above were siding with you. That is cruelty, Tsunade, stated Mito before striking her granddaughter hard in the face. It was for the good of Konoha. Everyone I betrayed was just excess baggage. What did any of them bring to the table? To Konoha? Nothing. They were useless. Nawaki was too naive. So was Dan. It was better for them to die instead of living in the world Konoha was going to form. As for betraying you and grandfather, you were both dead, and I was never one to believe in following dead people, replied Tsunade before she was picked up off the ground by Mito and looking into the eyes of the angry Uzumaki woman. I'm very much alive now, Tsunade, which is more than I can say for you in the next few seconds, remarked Mito before punching her fist through Tsunade's chest, where the woman's heart was, and ripped it out. Mito, bah, gasped Tsunade before life left her eyes while staring at Mito holding the bloody organ in her hand. You are not my granddaughter. Goodbye, Tsunade. Be glad I say that much to you, remarked Mito before leaving the dead woman on the ground. With Shao Kahn. Hello, Sasuke. Did you miss me? Asked Shao Kahn while heading up the long line of steps leading to the top of the Hokage monument. Like I would miss a loser like you, commented Sasuke, in the hopes of making Shao Kahn angry. A loser like me? And how exactly loser, Sasuke? How am I a loser when I helped make all of this possible? Questioned Shao Kahn while motioning with his hand the violent fighting below them. You just are a loser. It doesn't matter what you've done or what you've accomplished. In my eyes, you will always be a loser, a piece of trash that should have been thrown away. My opinion is all that matters. I am an Uchiha elite after all, and the word of an Uchiha has always been absolute, Sasuke said arrogantly. Says the only remaining Uchiha in existence, remarked Shao Kahn with Sasuke's sense of superiority getting somewhat deflated. I know it was you who killed Itachi. You were one responsible for robbing me of what was my right to avenge my clan, said Sasuke in a way that was meant to intimidate his foe and reveal he knew the secret. Of course you know, fool. I asked Gaara to find and tell you that. What? You think I was going to make it some big secret? That I would keep it from you? Don't make me laugh, Sasuke, countered Shao Kahn with grin on his face. Once I kill you, I'll take everything you have in life. I will remove your clan from the pages of history and make mine the greatest in the world, declared Sasuke, with Shao Kahn smirking. Such big talk for someone who ran away from his big bad brother. When the rest of the Uchiha clan was being destroyed, taunted Shao Kahn with Sasuke, looking infuriated with his Sharingan eyes now showing. At least my family loved me, Sasuke shot back with Shao Kahn, scowled now with his smoldering crimson eyes before they shifted into the Rinnegan. And you think yours did, Sasuke? The only reason they would ever loved you, if you can even call it that in your clan, is only because you had a chance to awaken your Sharingan, and you did. But ask yourself this, Sasuke, what if you never unlocked your Sharingan? Would you still be loved? Would you still be called an Uchiha? All those of your clan who don't awaken their eyes are considered second-class citizens at best and inferior at worst, replied Shao Kahn with Sasuke's eyes narrowing. It doesn't matter. I have the Sharingan, and that's all that matters. Soon Sakura and every other bitch in Konoha will give me an army of children whether they want to or not, remarked Sasuke before drawing his sword and rushing at Shao Kahn to run him through. Only for Shao Kahn to raise his free hand at the Uchiha. Shinra Tensei! Exclaimed Shao Kahn with Sasuke being thrown back violently against the cliff wall and left a full-body indentation. What? What was that? Demanded Sasuke despite his body being in pain, as he never felt anything like that before today, and forced his body out of the cliff wall. That was the power of the Rinnegan, the supreme dojutsu above all others, including your pathetic Sharingan eyes, answered Shao Kahn with Sasuke, looking angrier than ever. You dare insult the Sharingan, exclaimed Sasuke before forming the Raikiri in his hand. Sasuke, I would not only insult your Sharingan, I would insult you, your clan, and your very manhood every day for the rest of my life. If it wasn't so easy that I would get bored after first day, that is. And as for Sakura one day carrying your child, let's just say I have already taken care of her, remarked Shao Kahn with Sasuke shocked at hearing this. Flashback before the invasion. Suigetsu, I have an assignment for both of you, remarked Shao Kahn, as he was staring at the walls of Konoha. What do you want me to do, boss? Asked Suigetsu with his massive sword that once belonged to Zabuza on his shoulders. What do you need, my lord? Asked Karen politely while shooting Suigetsu a small glare at the disrespect she felt he gave to Shao Kahn. There is an orphanage to the east of the Hokage Tower. It was where Uzumaki Naruto was raised for the first 8 years of his life. A place where he was hated, scorned, and abused by those that ran the place, as well as the other children in it, in exchange for extra privileges for doing a good job and hurting him. That is your destination. Suigetsu. Take Gurren with you, said Shao Kahn with Suigetsu, adjusting his sword, with a grin on his face. I see. And how badly do you want this place messed up on a scale of 1 to 10? With the 1 being restraint in killing only a select few and 10 being total annihilation of everyone inside? Asked Suigetsu, while Shao Kahn glanced at the man with a knowing look that made the swordsman nervous for a second. I see. 10 it is, mumbled Suigetsu. And my orders, my lord? Asked Karen with Shao Kahn turning to face her and hand the woman a picture. This is your target. Find her during the fighting. Use your sensory powers and look for the target in the village. Once you do, find out something about her, and regardless of the answer, end the bitch, Shao Kahn ordered coldly. And what exactly am I looking for in regards to the target, Shao Kahn-sama? Asked Karen curiously before he told her. There was silence for a moment before Suigetsu whistled. Damn. And here I thought I was cruel, whispered Suigetsu before Shao Kahn's eyes were on him, and he looked away. The Uchiha bloodline dies today. No exceptions. Kill the target and head to the hospital for all records regarding Uchiha Sasuke. Focus on any woman that may have attempted to have his seed placed in them by Senjutsu Nad. Make a lot of shadow clones when looking over his file, Karen. It will be a very long list, said Shao Kahn, while Karen just nodded. I understand, my lord, replied Karen respectfully. One more thing for you, Suigetsu. I almost forgot, but there is a ramen stand to south of the orphanage. It's small, but not unrecognizable. It's a family-run and owned shops. They sold Uzumaki Naruto poisoned and drug-filled ramen, meant to weaken, if not kill him, said Shao Kahn with Suigetsu nodding. Got it. How do you want them to die? Quick and painless. Or the other way that's not so quick and painless? Asked Suigetsu before Shao Kahn gave him another cold look with narrowed, angry eyes that made the swordsman gulp nervously once more. Right. Dumb question to ask. Sorry, boss. The other way it is. Why am I not surprised? Whispered Suigetsu to himself, before Shao Kahn turned his attention to the village walls in front of him. Flashback ends. Die? Yelled Sasuke with the clear intention of killing Shao Kahn as he charged toward him. Only for the much bigger man to catch the limb covered in lightning easily, not affected by it in the slightest, and broke the Uchiha's arm with ease. Sasuke screamed out in pain. His arm soon bent at an awkward angle as he was lifted off the ground and slammed into the cliffside multiple times before slamming the man head first into the stone steps. With the Uchiha down for the count, Shao Kahn simply put his massive foot right on his former teammate's skull and put it there for a moment. You first, Uchiha, remarked Shao Kahn before he crushed the man's skull like a grape from the amount of pressure put on it. With that minor annoyance done and over with, Shao Kahn walked up the steps to his intended destination. To meet his mother for the first time since he had returned to this realm. Chapter 13. Snuffed Out Fire Part 2. The Uchiha Clan District. Sakura saw the fires of war all around her, as they seemed to encircle the entire area where the Uchiha clan was once in great numbers. Now there was only one left, and he was off fighting the enemy at Konoha's walls. Sasuke had ordered her to stay here, to ensure the Uchiha clan district was not lost, and the legacy of the clan remained long after the fighting was over. And naturally, like a good obedient woman Sakura had become when it came to Sasuke, she obeyed without question. Even when an Anbu came on Tsunade's command to leave and head to the hospital to assist in healing those that were brought in, Sakura had ignored the order in favor of following Sasuke's. Nothing will happen to Sasuke-kun's home. I'll make sure of it, thought Sakura, but deep down she was scared and nervous the enemy would come here if they hadn't already. So you are the Uchiha's submissive bitch for a woman, commented Karen, as she came out of the shadows and staring at the pink-haired Kunoichi. What did you say? Demanded Sakura angrily. You heard me, bitch. You have insulted my lord and master with your past actions. As such, he has ordered your death, and I will carry it out, said Karen before taking out a pair of kunai, one in each hand, and glaring at Sakura currently taking a step back before she took out a kunai as well. So one of the Baka's sluts has come to fight me. Don't you know who I am? I am Uchiha Sasuke's woman. You're just a knight in bed to him. Sasuke-kun treats me like a queen, and like a true woman, boasted Sakura with Karen giving her a piercing look. You're lying. I have the ability to sense emotions as well as your chakra. While you are generating a sense of happiness regarding your status with the Uchiha, you also have some negative emotions regarding your nights with him, and how he treats you like a true woman, remarked Karen, while Sakura now showed how anger at that statement. Bitch! Exclaimed Sakura before she charged at Karen, but the red-haired Uzumaki was not intimidated by this woman, and held her ground. The two clashed with kunai in their hands, but it was clear Karen was the better fighter, as Sakura spent her days acting like a civilian than a shinobi. She trained every so often, but the skills were barely chunin now due to her lack of consistent workout. A shinobi does to stay strong. Karen was someone who had been training repeatedly since being first put into Orochimaru's service, and that didn't stop after Shao Kahn took over when brought into his service. Karen was ranked as a Junin easily and had the skills to match thanks to Mito also providing additional training in the various Uzumaki arts. She knew from her time it was not contest between the two. You are so weak, it's pathetic. I could have beaten you easily years ago, mocked Karen, as she landed a harsh kick to the side of Sakura's head and quickly tripped the woman with a sweep kick that followed. Shut up! I'm Sasuke-kun's woman. The one who will help him rebuild the Uchiha clan back to its proper place in the world. You should be groveling at my feet and begging me for forgiveness, remarked Sakura before Karen scowled and kicked her hard in the face. I've had enough of you. It's always Sasuke-kun this and Sasuke-kun that from someone interested in him. First, it was Orochimaru, now it's you. One of his loyal fangirls who would spread her legs for him in public if he gave the order, remarked Karen while she walked over to Sakura's downed form. As if you don't for that demon Baka you call a master, countered Sakura, while Karen smirked. First, while I wouldn't mind if Shao Kahn-sama gave me such an order, we have yet to do that. Seconds, he is not a Baka. That's your label for him, and it's one you gave my lord to mask your own insecurities and weaknesses, commented Karen with Sakura scowling at her before spitting out some blood. We'll see how confident you are when Sasuke-kun kills that Baka and puts his head on a pike for everyone to see, said Sakura with a small smirk on her face. Funny you should say that, because from what I sensed with my sensory abilities, you're oh so precious. Sasuke-kun's life just got snuffed the fuck out, said Karen with Sakura's eyes widening in shock, horror, and anger following in that order. You lie, protested Sakura, but was silenced by pain in her leg when Karen threw one of her kunai at her leg. Censors within the Uzumaki clan are second to none. I don't have to lie about this, said Karen before throwing the other kunai at the woman's right shoulder. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to show you why. I am Sasuke-kun's woman, said Sakura before she collapsed. Dumb bimbo. She didn't even realize those two kunai were both laced with a powerful sedative. I'm just lucky and glad she wasn't with a bun in the oven, remarked Karen before taking out a third, and kneeled down to put the blade at Sakura's throat, and sliced the woman's neck before watching the pink-haired kunoichi bleed out before leaving Sakura to die alone. Konoha Orphanage. Remember, no one gets through here. Danzo-sama wants this orphanage protected at all costs, ordered Sai to the other root shinobi around him. Sai saw the root nod in understanding, as Danzo-sama had made it clear that the main source of recruitment within Konoha for root shinobi. War made Konoha shinobi perish on missions, whether by the hands of the enemy or by an accident from a fellow leaf shinobi. When that happens, the children end up in an orphanage where the matron had orders to monitor each of the children and their potential for being shinobi. The matron would supply a root operative arriving under the ruse of an adult looking to adopt a child, or being a generous donor to receive the report before it arrived in Danzo's hands. Soon after, those chosen from the report would be adopted by various individuals who were root shinobi, and brought to Danzo for conditioning. I know they say poisonous fruit only comes from a poisonous tree, but in reality such a poisonous tree is only like that when the roots themselves are poisonous, commented an amused Suigetsu through a thick coat of mist he created around the orphanage. Identify yourself, said Sai while hearing a chuckle from Suigetsu echoing through the mist. Why? You're going to be dead like your friends in the next few seconds, remarked Suigetsu before the mist cleared for Sai to see 10 root shinobi behind him were dead. Impossible! I never heard anything while surrounded by the mist. This man is from Kiri, thought Sai before moving to draw some ink animals that could help him. Shoten, Hasho Kori, exclaimed Guren, who launched her crystal dragon at Sai, who tried to run, but Suigetsu flanked him on the right and cut off the pale boy's legs below the knee. Sai didn't even get a chance to scream as the dragon descended upon him and killed the root shinobi instantly. I just love cutting things up. Makes me feel all good inside, commented Suigetsu, as he had been having a blast since getting put into Shao Kahn's service and cutting people up. Hell, Suigetsu just finished visiting the small ramen stand before heading here, and got the honor of introducing the family there to the business end of their own kitchen knives. After that, the swordsman sliced the building in half with one might swing, and left the bleeding family members to die in the confines of their business. Granted, his boss did order him to go after the orphanage first, but the two were planning to head for the shelter near them. Sometimes you had to take what you could and run with it. Tell it to someone who cares, Suigetsu, remarked Guren before she had another dragon made up of crystals smash into the orphanage and killing everyone inside. Well, everyone, except the matron, who was crawling out of the building in a broken, bloody mess that told you she was in a lot of pain. Any last words before I cut off your ugly-looking ass for a head, bitch? Asked Suigetsu, as he had his sword at the ready so he could easily kill the matron with one single swing. May you rot in hell with your demon master. Konoha's will of fire is forever, eternal, declared the matron with Suigetsu scoffing at her. Will of fire? Look around you, lady. We just snuffed your precious will of fire right the fuck out. And as for hell, from what we heard you did to the boss when he was just a boy fighting to survive, you've earned yourself a nice little seat at the table where all the demons come to feast on human flesh. If I do see you there, I won't be the one who gets eaten, but rather I'll be one of the demons who does all the eating, replied Suigetsu just before slicing the woman's head off. How nice to hear, remarked Guren with Suigetsu, putting the sword on his back and looked at her. Hey! If I'm going to kill someone, I'm going to get the last word in, replied Suigetsu before they left to continue their business of killing Konoha shinobi elsewhere. Hulkage Monument. Kushina heard and sensed him coming long before he was seen at the top of the step, stained in blood, his eyes no longer a glowing crimson red, but purple with a red tint outline. She saw his eyes were of the Rinnegan, and she briefly wondered where he got the legendary Dojutsu. While watching Konoha burn all around her, the son she had neglected, abandoned, and tried to kill slowly walked toward the Uzumaki woman. She turned to face him, saw his mighty form growing larger with each step heading closer in her direction, and the bloodlust in his eyes. Hello, mother. We again for the first time in many years. You look well, replied Shao Kahn with Kushina looking at him and nodding before she surprised him before bowing slightly with a smile on her face, like she was welcoming him home. That has my son. I'm glad you are home, replied Kushina sweetly, with Shao Kahn looking a bit confused, yet somewhat amused by the sudden change in her attitude. So you've finally seen reason and accepted me as your son, remarked Shao Kahn with Kushina nodding before bowing slightly in front of him. I was wrong to shun you, to hate you. It was all Minato-kun's fault. After the sealing was done, he suggested we leave you here to be molded, and controlled in a way that would secure a powerful yet submissive weapon for the village, explained Kushina with Shao Kahn, narrowing his eyes at her. All these years you have hated me, opposed my existence, letting me live just to be a weapon to be discarded whenever you, father, Jiraiya, Hiruzen, and Konoha in general wished. And now you want to embrace me as your son. To forge new bonds one has with family, and forget the past events leading up to this ever happened? Asked Shao Kahn as he got closer to the woman and clenched his hands tightly. I don't want to fight you anymore. There is no point to it. I was wrong to do what I did, whispered Kushina with her head bowed and Shao Kahn's fists tightening before upper, cutting her right in the face that sent her flying backward, until she stopped skidding when hitting the ground. I'm making it a point now, my mother, remarked Shao Kahn before letting out a chuckle of amusement, walked up to the downed woman, picked her up, and now stared her right in the face. Please, Naruto, we're family. Members of the Uzumaki clan, pleaded Kushina, as she saw his eyes narrowing at her in anger. Your pathetic attempt at reaching me through family ties is nothing but a waste of time on your part, said Shao Kahn before punching her in the face, followed by a backhand, then a front, and finally a backhand again before throwing Kushina into the air. And she landed hard on the ground with Kushina spitting up dirt. Naruto, whispered Kushina while struggling to stand from the blows to the head, with Shao Kahn walking towards her with his wrath hammer in hand. Each hit delivered unknowingly sent images of her son's life, his pain, and his suffering directly into the woman's mind. How he suffered in Konoha while growing up and how she made him suffer with her betrayals. It had affected her mentality greatly due to each image being of a first-person perspective and made Kushina feel like she was the one suffering. It was an interesting experience, as Kushina could see herself in these moments, the many different memories of when she mocked her son, and how it now appeared to the woman like it was happening to her. That she was on the receiving end of her own actions, seeing her husband Minato there as well, and the others who had hurt Naruto had appeared in the same mocking fashion. It made Kushina want to puke. You masquerade yourself as a grieving mother, seeking forgiveness for past sins done against your only son. But in reality, you are just another liar, seeking to use any means available to avoid being punished by the very child, turned fully grown man who you wronged in life, added Shao Kahn before pressing his massive foot on Kushina's back. Hard! Ah! Screamed Kushina as she felt the pain her back was now going through from the force of the blow, and tried to press against it with no such luck of succeeding. Can you feel it, my mother? Death closing in around Konoha, the lives lost in the lead, the people killed. The prophecy of this realm is finally coming true. It is the end of all things, for you, Konoha, and the shinobi system itself, declared Shao Kahn, while looking down at the fighting below, and feeling the rush of power roaring inside his body, spilling out for all to see if they looked up. Naruto, stop! I am sorry, pleaded Kushina before she was picked up and stared into her son's Rinnegan eyes. Uzumaki, Naruto is no more. You, your husband, and everyone else in this village saw to that, replied Shao Kahn before throwing her again so she landed right on the spot where the Yondaime Hokage's head was located. The ages wasted in siding with the wrong people for all the wrong reasons, betraying all that Uzumaki Mito taught you and the Uzumaki clan in general for selfish reasons. Now it is time to end your miserable existence once and for all. The souls of the entire Uzumaki clan have spoken. You must die, declared Shao Kahn with Kushina looking up at him when he stood in front of her. Yes, I must die, whispered Kushina with tears running down her face, while seeing the man that was her son stare down at her with those eyes of the sage. Goodbye, Kushina. Goodbye, my one-time mother. As your world ends, replied Shao Kahn before letting out a war cry and moved to strike her down with his wrath hammer, only to be stopped by chakra chains wrapping around his arms. I won't let you hurt my mother. Our mother, stated Naruto with Shao Kahn laughing at her while turning slightly to face the girl. So the daughter of fools decides to make her appearance. Come to fight me, or die with the rest of the trash in this village?" asked Shao Kahn while breaking the chains that were wrapped around his arms to the shock of Naruto. "I don't want to, but I will fight you, brother," answered Naruto, while Shao Kahn laughed at her. "I'm not your brother, not anymore. Your parents saw to that years ago. Remember?" mocked Shao Kahn with Naruto looking at her mother behind him and saw the woman flinch. "I know, brother, but look at Mom. Can't you let us into your life again? Can't you forgive us?" asked Naruto with Shao Kahn frowning her. "No, there is no forgiveness to be had between us. Only pain, only blood spilled, only death," exclaimed Shao Kahn with Naruto looking at him with sadness and pity. How dare she look at him like that? "I see. It looks like I have no choice. I originally wanted to fight you to see which of us was the stronger sibling, to prove that I was the stronger sibling in order to put such doubt to rest. But now I see I have to fight you to stop this madness," remarked Naruto, as she drew her sword, and Shao Kahn grinned. "The madness will only stop when you and that woman behind us are dead. So by all means, fight me. Let's see if you can stop the madness and rage in my heart," replied Shao Kahn before he charged her with incredible speed. Naruto barely saw it, but was able to dodge the attack and slashed at him with her sword at the arm. The blade hit his armor, however, and left the kunoichi open to a punch to the face. Naruto went flying back but landed on her feet, skidding as she did and using her sword to steady herself. "Keitan, Gokaki, no Jutsu!" exclaimed Naruto as she took a deep breath and shot out a giant fireball from her mouth at Shao Kahn. "Suten, Suri, Dan no Jutsu," countered Shao Kahn before his attack manifested itself and launched right at the giant ball of fire, which upon impact had created a large heavy mist. "I know you hate me, brother, for the love you were denied. How you hate our mother. I know your heart is filled with rage, with pain, but will killing us really take it away, or make it worse?" asked Naruto with her voice echoing through the mist. "I don't know, dear sister. Let's find out together," exclaimed Shao Kahn as he sensed her behind him and swung his wrath hammer at the woman with the strike hitting her dead on in the face, only to go poof to show she was in fact a shadow clone. "Stop. Both of you stop," whispered Kushina while seeing Naruto appear to Shao Kahn's right and launch her chakra chains at him again. "I'm truly sorry, brother, but the only way to stop your madness from going too far is to kill you," said Naruto before she charged at her struggling brother. The power behind the chakra chains had been increased to prevent him from breaking them. "You're sorry. You don't know the meaning of the word," exclaimed Shao Kahn as he broke the chains at the last moment, dodged the blade aiming at his throat, and knocked Naruto back with the back of left arm. "Stop, both of you. Please stop," whispered Kushina in a trance-like state, as she found herself looking back at everything she had done, the lives betrayed thanks to her, and all the events leading up to this moment. Her own children were fighting each other, to the death, right in front of her. "You claim to be sorry, but all I hear are empty words. Spoken by someone who has never suffered," exclaimed Shao Kahn, as he threw a light spear right at Naruto, who dodged it, followed by 3 more, and was hit hard by a shoulder tackle. "I need to stop them. I need to stop them now," whispered Kushina, as she slowly got up from the ground and saw her son using his own chakra chains to hold down Naruto with his wrath hammer ready to be brought down on her head. "No mercy. That was the policy with Konoha in its beginning. So shall it be my policy at its end." "Goodbye, Naruto," replied Shao Kahn before bringing his wrath hammer up over his head to destroy his sister, only for Kushina to shoot her chakra chains out of her body and wrap them around Shao Kahn's arms to prevent the swing from happening. "I won't let you destroy your family, Naruto. I won't let you become like me. I know the rage inside of you is not just your own. Kurama's rage is in there too," said Kushina while Shao Kahn looked infuriated at being denied twice what his heart desired. Even Now you dare try to decide things for me. Some things never change, said Shao Kahn with a snarl on his face, before finding yet another pair of chakra chains wrapping around that came from Naruto. We hurt you. We are truly sorry. We can take away the pain, but only if you let us in. Please, let us in, brother, pleaded Naruto while Shao Kahn struggled against them. You can take away the pain when you are dead, Shao Kahn cried out angrily before breaking Naruto's chakra chains and kicking her away from him. Naruto, stop, pleaded Kushina, but her words weren't reaching him, and it showed when he let go of his wrath hammer to grab the chakra chains holding his arms. Naruto is dead because of you. I am Shao Kahn. And I am your death, said Shao Kahn before pulling her towards him and grabbed the woman's throat. Naruto, I know you are in there, son. I know we hurt you. I see that now. I want to start over, start fresh, to be the family you always wanted. Please, Naruto, pleaded Kushina, while Shao Kahn's eyes narrowed at her, the glowing optics filled with rage. I have hated you for as long as I can remember being me. I have hated you, Father, Naruto, and just about everyone in Konoha for over 1,000 years. Over 1,000 years. Do you honestly expect me to just let that go? Demanded Shao Kahn with Kushina's eyes watering now. No, Naruto, but I don't expect you to let such hatred go at the drop of a hat. That would be stupid of me for asking you to do such a thing. What I'm asking for, Naruto, is a chance to help take the pain and hatred away. I can do that for as long as you will let me live. I can help you like I should have done from the start, rather than follow your father's and Konoha's way of doing things. I know you may feel like it's too little too late for me to help you now, but if you just give me this one chance, I promise you, Naruto, that I will be the mother you always wanted. The one you always needed. Please, Naruto. Give me the chance to prove myself, pleaded Kushina while seeing his eyes were filled with conflict, as one part of him clearly wanted to rip her into tiny pieces, and the other wanted to give the woman a chance, if only to see whether or not she would break her promise before breaking her. One chance. You break your promise, threatened Shao Kahn with Kushina nodding. I know, but I am an Uzumaki. I may not have acted like one in your eyes, Naruto, but I have yet to break a promise made, said Kushina with Shao Kahn narrowing his eyes at her before letting the woman go, while his power receded back into his body. You will surrender to my custody. The same with Naruto. No arguments, commanded Shao Kahn with Kushina nodding. I understand, replied Kushina before seeing his chakra chains around Naruto. Retract? Shao Kahn-sama? Asked Hashirama, as he along with his wife, Mito and Tobirama arrived to see both targets alive. They are my prisoners. I will deal with them later, in Wave Country. Mito, I trust you will watch over both Kushina and Naruto while I handle everything else, said Shao Kahn, with Mito nodding while sending a glare to Kushina, who looked down at the intense look, and then at Naruto. Yes, Shao Kahn-sama, said Mito while making sure the two Uzumaki women knew from her eyes alone she would beat them both within an inch of their lives if they tried anything. Good. I take it your assigned targets are dead, questioned Shao Kahn, with the three nodding. The only ones with a recognizable body is Tsunade and Hiruzen, though his head is currently lacking proper facial recognition, said Hashirama with Shao Kahn nodding. Good. Round up the survivors for judgment, and bring the dead bodies of your targets for those same survivors to see for themselves just how serious their situation is, ordered Shao Kahn with Hashirama and Tobirama nodding before they left. Konoha Stadium hours later. The fighting in Konoha soon ended with survivors on the Leaf side being rounded up and brought to the stadium for judgment. There weren't that many people, though, as the Shinobi Alliance had overpowered and overwhelmed the Konoha Shinobi despite the village's united front. The civilians were taken out of the emergency shelters, thrown into the stadium with the rest of the Shinobi captured, and being watched by members of the Shinobi Alliance. Sitting in the cages booth reserved for cages of each Shinobi village, Shao Kahn, the Raikage, the Mizukage, The Mizukage, the Kazakage, and the Tsuchikage were sitting in chairs befitting their station. The people were soon brought before them, sometimes one person at a time, or entire families all at once. Tobirama and Hashirama stood on either side of Shao Kahn, while Mito had taken Kushina and Mito to a secure location. Mito was strong enough to handle Kushina under her watchful eyes, and with Karen there watching Naruto. So far most of these people have been ordered for execution, commented A, as he saw some of the shinobi down there were from clans, and knew it was a shame to have such bloodlines go to waste. Most, not all, Raikage-sama. Those that are spared are the very young and deserve to have their chance at redeeming their families and clans, remarked Gaara, while it just nodded. I'm surprised Shao Kahn here spared his mother and sister. Are you sure they won't try anything? Questioned the Tsuchikage while glancing at Shao Kahn. Naruto won't do anything. As for Kushina, she promised me, answered Shao Kahn like it was that simple. And you expect her to keep it? Asked Mei with Shao Kahn's eyes turning to her, and she shivered in fear and lust. My mother is an Uzumaki. What does that tell you? Replied Shao Kahn, while Mei just nodded in agreement before they went back to judging. Who would live and who would die? You have some nerve judging us, said Koharu, as she was dragged here by some Iwa Anbu, and Homura right beside her with both looking beaten up from the fighting. You would think they were joined at the hip, thought Shao Kahn with some amusement since he saw them lots of times always walking side by side together. Really? Considering your act of perversity aimed at twisting the will of fire, I think we have every right to judge you, my former students, commented Hashirama with Koharu, scowling further and Homura doing the same. We did what needed to be done. The will of fire is meant to purge everyone unworthy of its touch from this world, said Homura with neither Hashirama or Tobirama. Looking pleased. Which, in your mind, is everyone not from Konoha? Remarked Tobirama with Koharu looking in his direction. Konoha was meant to be a shining beacon for the world to see. The only beacon worth following. Every other shinobi village should have been destroyed by using the Biju in the Senju clan's possession, but Hashirama shared them with the world to promote peace and balance in the hopes we would all unite together. Ah! A fool's dream with him being a cage of fools, said Koharu sharply, while Tobirama looked angry while his brother said nothing. Hashirama? Asked Tobirama when he looked at him. No. She's right, brother. I was a fool, replied Hashirama while Koharu smirked and the cages looked shocked. Only Shao Kahn kept himself impassive. Brother, questioned Tobirama before seeing his Hashirama shaking slightly in silent anger. I was a fool, in believing our dream would live on through others after we died. I was a fool, to entrust that dream to the likes of these power-hungry idiots. Power-hungry idiots who would kill their own children and their children's children. Just to sit in the seat of power, added Hashirama while Koharu and Homura frowned at being called idiots. Power is the only thing that matters. Perhaps if you understood that, Madara would have feared you more, and would not have fled Konoha, commented Homura before he was impaled by a tree branch from behind. Do not speak ill of him. Madara may have lost his mind after everything that happened, but Konoha drove him to it. Even back then, people were distrustful of Madara, my own brother included, but I was always his friend, his rival in the shinobi arts, and despite his madness, there was always respect. That was what mattered the most, said Hashirama, while commanding the tree branch to flick the body of itself like a whip into the people below. Why did you kill Homura? He was your student and my teammate. To think the great Senju Hashirama has been reduced to the same level as that monster sitting in the middle between the two of you, commented Koharu bitterly before a hole was made in her chest from the compressed ball of water Tobirama launched at the woman. Who is the bigger monster, Koharu-san? The monster you hate, or the one who makes the monster and hates their creation regardless of it being a success? Asked Tobirama while seeing the woman fall down dead. Shao Kahn-sama, if I may ask you something, asked A with Shao Kahn looking at the man with a raised yet hidden eyebrow. What? replied Shao Kahn before seeing the Raikage's eyes travel to the Hyuga clan members that were not killed. What is to happen to the Hyuga clan? Surely some will be spared death, questioned A, as he was eyeing them with interest, and wanted some of the clan in Kumo. The Hyuga clan will be divided in half. Half will go to Kumo. The other half will go to Wei. You can have Hyuga Hayashi, replied Shao Kahn with a frowning a bit. He's a bit old for my tastes. I was hoping for someone younger and far more skilled in gentle fist with strong Byakugan eyes, suggested with Shao Kahn knowing what he wanted. Hyuga Hanabi, Hinata's sister. No, Hyuga Hanabi is coming with me back to wave with her sister. Hayashi may be old age-wise, but he knows gentle fist, and the Byakugan in his possession hasn't weakened. Besides, his body is still young, so using him as a stud shouldn't be a problem, and I'm sure some of the other male Hyuga clan members won't be a problem when they are used in that manner either, said Shao Kahn with a grumbling. I suppose. Still, the cage bird seal will be a pain to remove before those left of their main family kill use it, remarked it before Shao Kahn smirked at him. I've already taken care of that. Nito made a seal to neutralize the cage bird seal, and began using it on the branch family when they were brought in. Some of them were having their seals activated by the main family when their clan compound was attacked, but Hinata stopped the branch family from being killed, replied Shao Kahn with a now looking more upbeat. Well, that is something to consider. So long as I don't have to deal with that blasted seal, I don't see a problem dividing the Hyuga clan, said A, with Shao Kahn smirking. What about the Aburami clan? I could use such a clan in Iwa to cause one of my own in my village to evolve in a sense, said the Tsuchikage with Shao Kahn nodding. Same deal as Kumo. Half to you, half to me in Wave Country. You can have the clan head and I have his son while the rest are split down the middle, remarked Shao Kahn with the Tsuchikage letting out a grunt. While they went through the exchange of who got to keep what clan, Shao Kahn focused on the next two individuals that were brought before them in the form of Sarutobi Azuma and his wife Kurenai. Both glared at Shao Kahn with hatred in their eyes, but the giant demonic entity had suffered from worse looks and had given as well as gotten his time. A shinobi from Suna by the name of Baki had a hand on the shoulder of what appeared to be a 9-year-old child, not that far away from them. Shao Kahn instantly knew who the child belonged to, and also knew deep down the boy's parents were fearful of what this row of cages and one daimyo would do to their only child. Here is In's child. I can see the resemblance, remarked Hashirama while Tobirama just let out a grunt. How can you side with him? He's a monster, a perverted beast. Who knows how many women he's taken as concubines into his bed? Protested Kurenai in the hopes of getting the cages to turn against Shao Kahn. What Shao Kahn does in his own castle with whoever in his bed is none of our concern, so long as he doesn't endanger our own shinobi villages. From what has already been discussed in our future plans to have a long-lasting peace, such an issue will not arise anytime soon, said Gaara while the Mizukage tried to keep her face from matching the color of her hair, since she had been in that bed with Shao Kahn. And he was indeed a beast when it came to their time together in it. But he's also a demon. A demon can't be trusted. Surely you know that. None of you trust your Jinchuriki, and they are no better, added Asuma before being hit by a giant fist of sand by Gaara. Need I remind you that I am a Jinchuriki? I was a monster for a time. I did hurt people, killed people, but I was forced into it thanks to my father and his desire to turn me into a weapon of war while the village hated my very existence. It took me years to show I was not the person they first thought I was, and was rewarded for my efforts with a village which loves me along with my own siblings supporting me. My former sensei Baki over there has been one of my most trusted advisors, and I trust him with my life, said Gaara firmly, while watching the leaf shinobi he just struck struggled to breath due to the blow to the torso. The question now is what to do with them. Kill one of them, both of them. And what of their kid? Asked the Tsuchikage with both Kurenai and Azuma looking worried as they looked at their nervous son. Azuma will be sent to the shinobi prison in Suna. Kurenai will be sent to the one in Wave Country I had commissioned for just this sort of thing, answered Shao Kahn with the cages nodding. And the boy? Asked since he might want to have the Sarutobi bloodline in Kumo one day. He will live with his cousin, Sarutobi Konohamaru, in Wave Country under watchful eyes, but will also be forbidden from seeing his mother. Forever, stated Shao Kahn, while both parents looked shocked and horrified while the child looked devastated. Are you sure it has to be forever? It seems a bit harsh on the child, remarked Gaara, while Shao Kahn thought it over while glancing at the boy who clearly loved his parent. I suppose you do have a point, Gaara. Very well. He can visit his mother, but the boy can only visit her only once every 3 months, declared Shao Kahn, with the news being slightly less devastating to Kurenai and made her son less sad by the decision. With judgment on them finished, the 3 were taken away before the Inuzuka clan was brought up, and its clan head Tsume along with her 2 children. All 3 were brought to kneel at the feet of their conquerors, each Inuzuka glaring at Shao Kahn and wishing to escape their binds to rip out his throat. We should have killed you when we had the chance after the sealing, said Tsume, with Shao Kahn letting out a chuckle. And risk the fox getting out. You know perfectly well I was not QB in human skin. Your husband knew as well. Shame what happened to him all those years ago. By your hands, remarked Shao Kahn, with Hana and Kiba looking at her with curious eyes, while Tsume glared harder. Mom? What is he talking about? You told me Dad died by the demon's hands, said Hana, with Kiba wondering the same thing. Shao Kahn's smile increased. You didn't know. It seems your mother has kept things from you. Truth buried, knowing that if it was ever brought to light, it would quite possibly change your very perceptions of me, stated Shao Kahn, with Tsume snarling and moved to rush him, but was held firmly in place by Killer Bee. What is he talking about, Mom? Asked Kiba, with Tsume not answering her son. Your father never died at my hands, Kiba. He died at the hands of your mother. It was approved by the Sandam Hokage himself, answered Shao Kahn, with Hana and Kiba, looking shocked by this. It's true, isn't it? Asked Hana when she saw her mother wouldn't deny it. Yes, it is true, said Tsume at last. Why? Asked Kiba, with Shao Kahn smirking further. Because he wouldn't follow the pack when it came to their treatment of me and how the village felt I should be treated. He saw me as a person. Your mother saw me as a chew toy for the clan to maim whenever they were in the mood to hunt, and the animal of choice for that hunt was a fox, answered Shao Kahn, with Tsume growling. He should have followed the rest of the pack. Instead, he chose to see you as something human. He was making problems for us. For me. I wasn't about to have my husband mess with Konoha's future simply because his views and opinions of the demon were different from everyone else's, stated Tsume, with Shao Kahn seeing both the woman's progeny were shocked to hear this. But why lie about it? Why not tell us the truth? Asked Kiba, with Shao Kahn scoffing. Because she didn't want to risk the truth turning the man into a martyr. She didn't want to risk the truth making others possibly consider that perhaps there was more to me than the label of a Jinchuriki, answered Shao Kahn for Tsume, while the woman snarled. You were a weapon, a pet, a slave to our desires. You shouldn't have been able to slip your leash, commented Tsume, with Shao Kahn's eyes narrowing. And you should have been put down years ago like the rabid dog you are, Tsume. Don't think I haven't forgotten your actions on my 9th birthday, where you gave orders to that one-eyed mongrel for a partner who bit into my side. I was in the hospital for weeks, with my body slowly regenerating the loss of flesh, with no anesthetic since the doctors and nurses didn't feel I deserved any. Speaking of that one-eyed dog of yours, was it killed during all the fighting? Asked Shao Kahn, while seeing Yugito nodding, since she was the one to take on all 3 members of the Inuzuka clan kneeling at his feet. Burned alive. I saw to that personally, answered Yugito while smirking, and saw Shao Kahn's smile increasing. Excellent. A fitting end for such a dog like that one, remarked Shao Kahn, with Tsume suddenly charging forward, her rage getting the best of the woman, and it was clear she intended to use her teeth rip his throat out since her arms were bound. Die, you bastard, exclaimed Tsume, as she intended to at least avenge her fallen canine companion. You first. Rasengan, said Shao Kahn, as he formed the object in his hand with ease and shoved it into Tsum, who exploded violently seconds later in front of her children. Mom, no! Exclaimed Kiba, while Hannah was shocked to the core at what she just saw. Fatality, remarked Shao Kahn with Kiba, now seeing red, and tried to rush the demonic warrior in the same way his mother did, only to be struck down by Yugito with her extended claw like nails and Killer Bee, now having his swords on Hannah's neck to ensure she didn't get the same idea. Easy there, doggy. No need to be feeling froggy, rapped Bee with a now groaning at his brother's rapping. What do we do with her? Asked Gara, with Hannah looking broken inside due to the news she was denied when growing up along with the death of both her mother and brother. Good question. What shall we do with you? Inuzuka Hana, whispered Shao Kahn as he reached down, cupped her chin, and made the woman look him right in the eyes. Mercy, my lord. Show mercy, pleaded Hannah in a whimpering tone, while Yugito let out a cat-like sound a feline would make when facing another animal it didn't like. Mercy. And what would you consider to be merciful? Asked Shao Kahn, with Hannah still finding her gaze locked onto those dominating eyes. To live in your home? To serve you? I could be your concubine if you wish it, offered Hannah, with Yugito having a look that could burn through steel. Doesn't he have enough women already? Grumbled. A while seeing Yugito not liking the offer Hannah was making. Very well. You will also be the new head of the Inuzuka clan in Wave Country. You will be my eyes and ears of your clan, commanded Shao Kahn, with Hannah nodding. I will not fail you, Shao Kahn-sama, said Hannah submissively. I know you won't. Take her away, commanded Shao Kahn before Bee took the woman away. Rock Lee and Meito Gai were slain in battle by Jugo, commented Gara, while noticing the two odd taijutsu specialists were not among the land of living. I know. I gave the order for their deaths to him. He wanted to avenge the death of his friend Kaguya Kimimaro. You fought him when we were trying to retrieve the Uchiha, replied Shao Kahn, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Here is the report you wanted from the hospital, my lord, said Garain, as she saw Shao Kahn looking over Karen's findings, and if there were any Uchiha in the hospital. Are you sure this is accurate? Asked Shao Kahn, with Garain nodding. Karen checked it 3 times. Apparently, the Uchiha had no potency in his sperm. A side effect from your battle with him years ago at the Valley of the End, said Garen, with Shao Kahn smirking. You mean the Uchiha was? Questioned Tsuchikage, with Garen nodding. Sterile. He was practically shooting blanks. The odds of him having a child were slim to none. Leaning toward the latter, answered Gurren, with Shao Kahn letting out a laugh. Looks like I didn't even need to kill him to end the Uchiha bloodline after all. Time itself would have done it for me, commented Shao Kahn, as he looked over the report and saw everything was in order. There is also the issue with Tsunade's first apprentice, Kato Shizune, said Gurren, with Shao Kahn frowning. She was at the hospital, correct? Where is Shizune now? Asked Shao Kahn, curiously. Being detained by Conan and under the watchful eyes of several Amy Ambu as well, answered Gurren, with Shao Kahn thinking things over. She will be sent to prison in Aim and live out the rest of her life there, replied Shao Kahn, with Gurren nodding before she left to inform Conan of this. With that matter concluded, the group began to sentence civilians and shinobi alike to what they felt was befitting them. Epilogue. Years later. It had been many years since Shao Kahn conquered his past enemies and his own internal demons, that one filled his mind with rage. Now, he was the ruler of a vast empire, having absorbed Spring Country, Wind Country, Water Country, Earth Country, and Waterfall Country. Each country absorbed through arranged marriages the will of the people living in each country, seeing Shao Kahn as a great leader and declared him emperor. Whirlpool was also brought into the empire, but was turned into a place where someone went to be exiled, and was left there until the emperor decided you were ready to return. So far, only Uzumaki Kushina had that not-so-distinguished honor. That had been her punishment when they got back to Wave Country after a year had gone by. Though it wasn't surprising to many, as Kushina's presence made Shao Kahn's ability to deal with the pain difficult, and her being a constant reminder of his pain. Kushina had of course tried to help him, even offered to be his punching bag for a sparring partner to get the rage out of his system. But he refused. Instead, Shao Kahn decided it would be best if his mother was exiled to Whirlpool, to walk among the ruins of her homeland and see what it was she had betrayed outside of her only son. Kushina understood his reasoning and accepted it without complaint. Shao Kahn would visit her from time to time at the small home she made for herself, among the ruins that her clan once resided in. It was more of a test of his ability to restrain his rage and see if he was able to tolerate the woman's presence after a certain period of time. As for Naruto, she was not harmed by Shao Kahn due to her own involvement in his life's suffering had been non-existent. Though some felt she should be punished for siding with Konoha for so long and didn't exactly rise to support him during the war. However, the daimyo of Wave felt it would be better for his sister to prove her worth by being the leader of his shinobi village in Wave Country as its very first Shodaime Namikaze. A perverse sense of justice was what many speculated to the issuing of that order, since it sounded close to the name Namikaze. Whether Shao Kahn did that out of revenge against his father was known only to the man himself. As for Shao Kahn himself, the man ruled over his empire well, learning from his various mistakes he made when running Outworld with an iron fist and causing more problems than solving them. He appointed each kage from each shinobi village as his advisors, who were put in charge of running things in each area and informing him of what was going on in each region. They still had shinobi villages to run, but rather than competing against one another, they were taught to work together, and shinobi from each village were hired for missions based on the skills required of them. They still had the Chunin exams, but this time around they weren't designed to be a deterrent for war, but rather show off the shinobi from each area to the emperor and prove that their skills were still sharp. As for the women in Shao Kahn's life, they were happy being his wives, concubines, and some even slave servants to his majesty. Tsunami, Koyuki, Hinata, Yugito, Mei, and Tamari, to name a few, were all married to the man. Anko was still his loving concubine, but Shao Kahn was now coming around to the idea of marrying her since she had paid her debts by this point, and it seemed only fitting she marry him. Hana was also a full-fledged concubine, taking to her duties and attending to his every need, and the clan she ran while always wearing a skimpy attire similar to the female slaves Shao Kahn had in Outworld. On another surprising note, the Tsuchikage's granddaughter Kurotsuchi had spent the last few years getting to know Shao Kahn, and rumors were spreading of the two marrying in a few months to further connect the land formerly of Earth Country to the Empire. Not only that, but Shao Kahn had suggested to the Sandaime Tsuchikage that his successor be Suzumembachi, who was the granddaughter of the Shodaime Tsuchikage, and help show he support the once-fallen clan. Onoki was naturally hesitant at first to consider this, but Shao Kahn pointed out to the old man that the addition of new blood via the Aburame clan was just what the Kamazuru clan needed, and having the granddaughter of the Shodaime Tsuchikage as his successor would reinforce this. As for Suzumembachi, she was thrilled by this news, and humbly thanked both men for this opportunity to be in a position that her clan long wished someone since her grandfather to be sitting in. The only annoyance at the moment in his life was Tenten, who had escaped Konoha's fall and had been plotting to kill Shao Kahn to avenge her village's defeat along with Neiji's death. The weapons Kunoichi had trained herself vigorously in the hopes of killing the man and those he loved. While Hinata had been the one to deliver the killing blow to Neji, Tenten had felt the blame fell on the Hyuga woman's lover in setting things in motion for Konoha's fall, and ultimately Neiji's death in the long run. At the moment she was facing the man in question, when she snuck into the Emperor's castle and tried to kill the man when his guard was down. Sadly for Ten, the man was never one for lowering his guard and had eyes everywhere in his home. "You were foolish to come here, Ten," commented Shao Kahn to the bleeding and beaten-up woman. The floor around them was covered in weapons, scattered around by Tenten throwing them and being knocked away. Those she didn't throw, like swords, Spears and other weapons requiring they be used with one or both hands were knocked away during the fighting. Around them, watching intently, were various shinobi in the castle from all over the empire, or the man's wives and concubines. I will have my revenge for Konoha, for Neji. You made sure everything I had was lost, exclaimed Tenten with Shao Kahn smirking at her. Konoha made its choice when it tried to use me as a weapon. They sealed their future in being destroyed when they tried to kill me. Why should I have shown them mercy when they cared nothing for their enemies? Because you say so? Or because the village was my home, and I should just suck up the pain of their betrayal? Countered Shao Kahn with Ten gritting her teeth. Shut up! I don't care about your reasons. What I care about it, your head being severed from your body, exclaimed Ten before bringing out one more sword and charged him with the intent to kill. With a simple flick of his wrist, Shao Kahn sent the woman flying back with his power and onto her back. Glaring it up at him, Tenten reached for a nearby kunai and leaped into the air to stab him somewhere vital. However, the kunoichi formerly of Konoha was stopped by Shao Kahn's hand, grabbing the limb with the kunai and kneeing her hard in the stomach. Tenten found the force of the blow delivered had made her puke, and finding it difficult to breathe soon after emptying the contents of her stomach. When she finally did look up, Tenten saw Shao Kahn staring down at her, the Rinnegan eyes pulsing with unmatched power. You belong to me now, stated Shao Kahn in a matter-of-fact tone. I will always hate you, spat Tenten venomously. Like, I care, countered Shao Kahn before his hand went to her head, and the woman screamed out in pain before slumping over unconscious. On her back was his seal and symbol, showing Tenten did indeed belong to Shao Kahn now. Just like most of the world, and maybe one day, all of the world too.